Do you need this, Mrs. Kemp?
I've become pretty fascinated of late with the new French extremism manifested in brutal masterpieces like Gaspar Noé's Irreversible or stark endurance tests like Xavier Gen's Frontiers. So whenever a new horror movie out of France pops up on Netflix, I buckle in for the ride. Such was the case going into Vertige, better known stateside as High Lane, Abel Ferry's flawed throwback to American slasher films. High Lane is one part Deliverance, one part The Hills Have Eyes, one part Wrong Turn, with a little bit of Touching the Void thrown in for good measure. 5 friends hit the mountains of Croatia to climb and hike. Each friend represents some archetype, of course. Fred, the skilled climber, is the wise old man. Luke, the timid greenhorn of the group, starts out as a hero and quickly becomes a cross between Pierre Artémis and the trickster. William is one part wise old man, one part trickster, one part shadow. Chloe emerges as the real hero, partly because she's given a backstory and partly because she has great breasts. And Karine, well, as Fred's girlfriend, she pretty much stays out of the way until she's killed, so I guess she's the equivalent of a red shirt on Star Trek. High Lane is really 2 movies in one. The first half is all mountain climbing, as Fred acts like Patrick Swayze in Point Break, Chloe has flashbacks, William and Luke fight over Chloe, and Karine stays out of the way. This section of film is marked with some pretty impressive photography, and the rock climbing scenes are as tense as the opening of Mission Impossible 2. The second half consists of our intrepid quintet being picked off one by a crazed man-child in the wilderness, whose arrival seems rather abrupt given that up until that point we thought we were watching a mountain climbing movie. If you're looking for a little of that French extremism, avoid this movie and look at the movies I previously mentioned, which I will review at a later date. But if you're feeling a bit nostalgic for the slasher in the woods motif that was an ubiquitous aspect of the 1980s zeitgeist, you might enjoy this film. I can't say I didn't enjoy it, but it was pretty much a movie I'd seen before. I appreciate the wistful way Abel Ferry romanticizes the slasher film, and the cinematography is gorgeous. Still, it's just another slasher film, a pretty one to be sure, but unlike its 5 protagonists, the film charts no new territory. In contrast, if you want to see a film that will get under your skin, come back stateside and check out Frozen. You know how fanboys blather about the latest cult film that makes you think? Frozen is a film that makes you feel. Literally. This film establishes the simplest of premises and then, to paraphrase Henry James, turns its characters loose in a house of fiction. 3 friends, played by Shawn Ashmore, Emma Bell, and Kevin Zegers, find themselves stranded on a chairlift at a ski resort, which has been shut down because of a blizzard moving in. For most of the film's 93-minute running time, we are up there with these 3, freezing in the cold, cowering in the dark, terrified of what might happen. Going back a moment to movies that allegedly make you think, I could argue that Frozen made me think. While I was engaged in its story, my mind was constantly working, asking questions. What would I do? How would I survive? How long could I stand the cold? The fact that my wife and I spent the better part of an hour talking about these questions after the film was over is a testament to Frozen's power. This is not the most pleasant experience. You'll find yourself cringing a lot, and if you watch this at home during the summer, it'll make you feel so cold you can turn off your air conditioner. But if you really want to bear witness to cinema's power to get at an audience, give Frozen a look. It's several shades better than High Lane, but they're both pretty cool movies if you're into this genre. Mad Matt says grab a bucket of popcorn and settle in for a double feature.
All right, we've seen what you can do with a boy. How are you when they come a little bigger?